Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today let's go over the market. The market literally just closed. By the way, I did get a new stand for the mic. Let me know. Hopefully this is good volume and everything sounds good. But regardless, let's jump into it. Tesla closing at $164.35, which is going to be up 2.6% on the day compared to the market. Tesla arguably outperforming the market ever so slightly. So a pretty good day overall and kind of playing out more or less how we discussed overall for the past few days. Now, clearly this was a massive bear trap. So as we discussed, right, this pattern usually plays out to the top side, to the upside. It's a usual bullish end to this pattern, right? This ascending wedge like this that we had, right? More often than not, it is a bullish pattern. This just ended up being a massive bearish bait. This was quite a serious bearish bait, but you can see from there, it just completely skyrocketed, broke past this resistance and retested it right here. Even better, you can see on the 15-minute sort of, right? Came down, kind of came back up. Actually 30 minutes, I think, yeah. Right, came back and then completely continued to rally. And off of this, it does seem like Tesla might have a little bit more room to the upside. I do not think the rally is just over. So we'll discuss all of that. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. This is not financial advice. Make your own decisions, do your own research, but jumping right into it. So for the most part, I do believe that there is going to be more room to the upside probably on Monday. And I will personally be either looking to either A, sell the shares that I have bought or sell covered calls against them, probably like about maybe 2 months out or something like that is what I will personally be looking to do if we rally to where I think we will. So the first target I have right now that I think will most likely touch is at the very least between 167 here, all the way up to as high as pretty much almost 170. This is my main zone. This is the first zone I'm personally looking at, and I want to see what happens around this kind of general area, right? Do we get a rejection? Do we not get a rejection? That to me right now is the main question. But I do think that Monday will most likely bring us this extra move to the upside. I would be surprised, honestly, if it actually does not. Right? This is also a pretty nice looking candle we have here, right? It's a hammer candle. It's not, it's almost a perfect hammer candle, right? A little bit of a wick at the top, but a small wick like this at the top is not too much of a big deal. The less of the wick at the top, the better. But other than this, small little, could have been a little bit nicer. Pretty nice looking hammer candle for the most part. Beautiful retest of this breakout on this little downward wedge that we had here as well. So far, so good. Now, there is a possibility that we do actually get an actual retest, a bit of a longer time frame, like I say, the 1 hour. So we come back down. Here, where is it? Right here. We do this and then go back up. That is absolutely a possibility, or we could just go straight up here. But regardless, I do personally expect us to come up to at the very least between 167 all the way up to potentially 170. That is my first level. And if we can break above this level, I personally will also be looking up for the next level, which is most likely around the mid 170s. Absolute best case scenario is 180, though honestly, part of me will be a little bit surprised if we actually see that. So we'll go over why that is, right? So you can see SPY looking not too shabby, right? It's looking a little bit, toppy right here. You can see it's definitely finding some resistance around this area right here, where it's constantly found resistance on the 1 hour here. It was support here, now resistance here. So it's pretty much at arguably an inflection point. So we'll see. If I had to take a guess, I would guess the SPY has a bear trap or bull trap, where it rallies a bit more into this little situation here, rallies past it, maybe goes into the 417s even, which will give Tesla room to go up to that 167 to 170. And then I think SPY might actually find a massive resistance area, and we'll see what actually happens with that. I have entered SPY puts, nothing completely major, very light, but nonetheless, I do have a little bit of SPY puts just as a bit of a hedge, just in case, because I don't think there's much more room. Like, I'll be personally surprised if we go much higher than about 417 or so. Like, I don't expect us to go much higher than that on SPY, but of course you never really know for sure. Also, puts right now are extremely cheap, with the VIX pretty much going even lower. I did not expect this. I did expect a rejection. Didn't think we'd go this low on the VIX and make an even lower low, but you can see the VIX has a bit of a bullish divergence as it's going lower on the daily. You can see the RSI is absolutely not going lower than this level. So, I'm just saying, to me, right now, it doesn't mean it has to happen next week, but it does feel like the market in general is building up for a pretty substantial move to the downside. That's just what I personally think. I don't know when it'll happen. I don't know how soon it'll happen, but I do think it will happen sometime, probably this coming month, of course, being May, or maybe even as late as June. But I do believe that there is a pretty substantial move to the downside on its way. It's just a matter of when, not if, in my opinion. Of course, could be completely wrong. You never really know for sure, but the market does seem like it's due for a nice little bit of a pullback, right? Even lower than this right here. So we'll see how that actually comes to fruition. But again, my projection is whatever happens in the short term is, to me, fairly irrelevant. I do think that we will make an overall move down, right? SPY, Tesla, and the VIX will pretty much rally from here as well, pretty substantially as well. So that's kind of the main thing I'm looking at, right? Another thing you want to take a look at for Tesla is if we go back to the daily, pull up this here, you can see the 21 EMA is sitting right above us, right? So again, to me, the kind of realistic best case scenario, honestly, is pretty much retesting this 21 EMA, which is pretty much around that 175-ish level. On top of that, we also have the 100-day moving average not far above us as well, pretty much sitting exactly at the 170 level. So that's why I talked about those two levels being very important, right? First one being, again, this 167, which was old resistance or old support, now essentially resistance, but more importantly, 170 being kind of a psychological level, and of course the 100-day moving average. And then if we break past that, most likely the mid set 170s, which is the 21 EMA, which will slowly come down to us. But if we do go up, I do believe this move will happen pretty quickly, and most likely early-ish next week if I had to take a guess. The final thing you also want to take a look at to kind of back up that move to the upside that we have been talking about. We talked about how, even over here on this red candle, how if there was more room to the downside, it's very minimal, and there's definitely much more room to the upside overall. This is exactly what we were talking about, or at least what I was talking about, right, a couple of days ago. Now, another thing to justify the move to about the 175-ish area potentially is if you can argue that this right here, this red candle was a swing high into the swing low right here, right? You can make an argument the fact that the 0.5 is at the 171 and the 0.6 is the 176. So that's one argument that you can definitely make. But personally, right, I would be surprised if it goes much higher than that. And I personally, if, again, just my opinion, if I was long Tesla from here, or let's say you bought at the dip over here or whatever, I've already started to scale out. I will continue scaling out. I sold my shares on my smaller account, right? I bought at 160, I sold at 165. I'll take that for now. I'm not too worried. I bought back some of my cash secured puts. I still have a decent position in cash secured puts that I sold. That is, of course, in profit, but I am looking to buy that back. If we do rally up into the 170s, I most likely will. However, with that being said, I don't think 176 seems a little bit of, a little optimistic to me. I do think around 170-ish, which is the 100-day moving average, the 0.5 on the retracement here, most likely is going to be the level to look forward to. Now, another argument you can make is that the actual swing high you should be measuring this from is all the way up here. If that's the case, then this pretty much means that the absolute best case scenario is 180, potentially even only 173. So pretty much think of it this way. Most likely we will enter the low 170s, right? There is a very decent chance we'll enter about 170 to 172-ish, right? The other option, of course, is the best case scenario, in my opinion, is 180 retest, which is possible, but I do think that's a little bit optimistic, though it is something to consider. But if we do get to 180, I personally think that that's just a phenomenal position to enter some Tesla puts, shorts, whatever. That's just what I personally think. Whether you're mad about that, whether you're not mad about that, irrelevant to me. But I also, regardless, after this move, whatever this move happens to be, whether it's only here, whether it's over here, whether it's over here, this overall area here, I do believe they will all lead either all the way down even further to around this gap fill around the mid 140s, or all the way down to, at the very least, a double bottom here around the 151-ish or whatever this level down here was, right? Give or take 152, right? At the very least, minimum it'll come back down here, if not all the way down here. And ideally what I want to see, if we do come back down to this level over here somewhere, I want to see the RSI make a higher low. And that to me will be quite bullish, and that would be quite phenomenal. And that most likely will be the main thing I will be personally looking for and waiting to see what happens. And if that is actually what ends up playing out. Now, the final thing we'll take a quick look at is, of course, going to be the weekly candle. You can see some pretty solid movement over here. So this even further makes me think that early next week most likely will be a pretty bullish start to the week, because this is a pretty phenomenal looking candle for the bulls. Could have been a little bit better, but damn, it's not bad at all, right? Very long wick at the bottom, really showing the bulls just truly stepping in where it matters. Nice little thin candle, which to me is usually a bit of a sign of a reversal. So seeing this kind of candle, honestly, kind of makes me think 180 is actually potentially a little bit more of a higher probability than I initially thought because of this candle. It's a pretty nice looking candle for the bulls for a bit of a reversal here for sure. So 180, honestly, now that I see this, seems a little bit more of a higher likelihood of happening, which in turn makes me think that the measurement for the Fibonacci most likely is actually from here, which will put us to the 0.5 level, which is exactly at 180. So essentially, guys, most likely entering 170s. And now that I looked at the weekly, 180 seems fairly plausible in all honesty, but I really would be surprised if we go much higher than that. And I think 180 will be a pretty great spot to enter some puts on Tesla. And the only thing that's confusing to me is if Tesla rallies all that up, all the way up to 180, which from here is another almost 10%, which is a decent amount. That means SPY is going to I don't even know what, maybe potentially retest this yellow line again, I guess. I'm not really sure, right? That's kind of confusing to me. So there's a potential SPY that comes up and retests this yellow line, which would bring it to about 420. So that is also a possibility, but we'll see, of course, what happens. But that's kind of what I'm thinking, guys. At the moment, I think the market is still looking a little bit more bullish than bearish, at least for now. But I do think it will flip into being very bearish. And not much longer, honestly, maybe another couple of weeks or so. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what you think about the audio quality. But thank you all so much for watching. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you Monday. Peace.